Bernard, welcome to Pharmacomms TV and thanks for doing the interview. Can you tell us first of all about IPHA, the Irish Pharmaceutical Health Association?
We represent the broad pharmaceutical industry here in Ireland. That's the innovator industry, in other words, the people who discover and make medicines that improve people's lives. So the likes of Pfizer and GSK and Novartis and MSD and Roche, these are all members of our organisation. And they are at the leading edge, the cutting edge of innovation in medicines. And so we represent their interests in terms of how to create a better operating environment for the discovery and delivery of medicines in the healthcare landscape and the clinical setting. And then we also try to tell a better story for the industry, which is connective, which is emotionally connective, which has impact with audiences on the ground, including politicians, because the biggest stakeholder of all, in fact, is the government. Because without the government working in partnership, which it is with the industry, patients would not get the kind of throughput in terms of medicine delivery that they really deserve. So we have some improvements to make in terms of that delivery model, and we also have improvements to make in terms of the research environment as well for the discovery of medicines. But it is key that we continue to advocate on their behalf, on behalf of the industry, which is deeply consequential for Ireland.
You guys recently launched the second part of Innovate for Life, a digital campaign. What was that about? Can you talk a little bit more about the campaign itself, where it came from and how you've been rolling it out?
So Innovate for Life is a film-led digital campaign that IPHA is leading, but it is for the industry as a whole. So it is cut across three different pillars. So it's patients, places and pioneers. So for example, in the case of patients, how do we tell a story that demonstrates the value that medicines bring to patients? In the case of places, how do we tell a story that demonstrates the value that the industry brings to the regions across Ireland in terms of job creation and economic dividend? And then finally for pioneers, how do we get behind the science to tell a story about tomorrow's cures and the impact that medicines make in people's lives? So, our perception of the market right now in terms of the media market is that obviously pharmaceuticals don't always get a very good press. We have to improve that, but in parallel with that effort, we have to tell our own story on our own terms, using new technology, new ways of storytelling, a visual medium for a visual age. And I think that's what we are trying to do with Innovate for Life, which has been a really, really successful campaign for us so far. At this stage we have launched 4 pieces of film content, each of which is about 40 seconds to a minute long, and they are cut downs of a wider piece of work which will debut at our conference in November in Croke Park. So for example, in the case of a patient story like Owen Quinn, who is a young guy who is from Waterford, he has type 1 diabetes, and he attempted a kite surf from France to Ireland earlier this year. With the aid of medical innovation, he was able to make that attempt and while controlling his glucose and sugar levels on board the solo kite surf. So for example, he's an example of somebody who is a living, breathing symbol of innovation, and without the work of our industry and the med tech industry, his flight may not have been possible.